You know, in the world of construction, one of the most important decisions you'll ever make happens way before a single shovel ever hits the dirt. We're talking about the contract. If you get it right, your project is built on a rock-solid foundation. But if you get it wrong, well, you could be setting yourself up for a whole world of financial pain. So let's break down why this choice is so incredibly critical. And that's not an exaggeration. It's a hard truth. When you hear about projects going way over budget, facing infuriating delays, or ending up in nasty disputes, you can often trace it all back to one single thing. The contract just wasn't the right fit for the job. So, we've got to stop thinking of contracts as just some legal formality you have to get through. No, this is your playbook. It's the strategic rulebook that's going to guide the entire project. Making the smart choice right here at the very beginning sets the stage for absolutely everything else. All right, so today we're diving deep into the two heavyweights in the construction pricing ring, the lump sum contract and the guaranteed maximum price contract, usually just called GMP. And trust me, these two represent completely different philosophies on how a project gets built and how it gets paid for. So the difference between them is pretty stark. With a lump sum contract, you agree on one single number up front. That's the price, period. With a GMP, it's totally different. It's more like a partnership. The owner pays for the actual costs as they come in, but, and this is the crucial part, there's a safety net, a price cap that absolutely cannot be exceeded. Let's use an analogy, because this makes it super clear. A lump sum contract is like ordering off a fixed price menu. You know exactly what you're getting, and you know exactly what you're going to pay. Easy. A GMP contract, well, that's more like hiring a caterer for a big party. You give them a maximum budget, they go buy all the ingredients, and you pay for what they actually spend plus their fee, all while knowing you're never going to go over that budget you set. Okay, so when the pressure's on, how do these two really stack up against each other? Let's put them head-to-head on the things that really matter to any project owner: risk, flexibility, and of course, transparency. This table pretty much says it all. With a lump sum, the contractor is taking on almost all of the risk. If the price of steel suddenly skyrockets, guess what? That's their problem. But the trade-off for the owner is a total lack of flexibility. Any little change order can turn into a painful, expensive fight. A GMP, on the other hand, is built on the idea of shared risk and flexibility. It's an open book deal where the owner gets to see every single invoice. It creates a collaborative vibe from day one. So you might be asking, how does a flexible contract like GMP deal with surprises? Well, that's where something called contingency comes into play. Think of it as a rainy day fund. It's a built-in buffer for all those unknown unknowns. It's a special fund paid for by the owner as part of the total GMP that's there specifically to cover stuff that nobody could have seen coming. It's a really smart way to manage risk together. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The data is backing this up. Industry experts are seeing a clear trend. In today's really volatile market, more and more professionals are finding that GMP contracts give them much better control over costs. It really shows a shift in the industry toward contracts that can actually handle some economic uncertainty. So here's the most important point. There is no single best contract. It is always about matching the right contract to the specific project. So let's figure out the ideal situations for each one. Okay. You should be leaning toward a lump sum contract when you know everything up front. I'm talking about having complete, ironclad plans with zero room for questions. It's perfect for those straightforward, repeatable projects, like building a franchise restaurant, where you've built the exact same thing 10 times before. If your number one top priority is locking in a single, predictable cost, this is your go-to. Now, a GMP contract, that thrives in complexity. Think about a massive, complicated project like a new hospital wing or a custom-designed skyscraper. You go with a GMP when the design is still kind of fluid, and you really need the contractor's expertise early on to help make smart decisions. It really creates a team atmosphere. And there's this really cool feature called a shared savings clause. Basically, if the project comes in under budget, everybody shares in the savings. It's a huge incentive for everyone to be as efficient as possible. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The absolute economic chaos of the last few years. We're talking unstable prices, supply chain nightmares. All of it has put a ton of pressure on every single project out there. So that brings up a really tough question. In an environment like this, can any contract on its own really keep you safe? I mean, even a lump sum contract is going to have a huge risk premium baked into the price, and a GMP is going to be under constant stress from rising material costs. And that right there brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. Choosing the right contract is just step one. actually executing it successfully. That means tracking every single cost, managing every change, and keeping the whole team on the same page. That is where projects are either won or lost. The best contract in the world is going to fail if it isn't managed well.
So, if management is truly the key to success, you have to ask, what are the best tools for the job? Well, that's where the sponsor of today's explainer comes into the picture.
I mean, be honest. Does managing your projects feel like you're drowning in a sea of confusing spreadsheets? Are you trying to track down a critical decision that's buried in a chaotic WhatsApp group chat? If that sounds familiar, you already know there has to be a better way. Modern construction is just too complex for old-school tools. This is exactly what Lementai was built for. It digitizes your entire construction workflow and creates one single source of truth for your whole project. It's designed to give you that clarity and control we've been talking about so you can manage any type of contract effectively. You can check it out and get started for free today at lementai.com. So there you have it, the showdown between lump sum and GMP. This explainer was brought to you by the team at Lementai.